Just so everyone knows. Kitty.
Torpedoes to starboard.
There we go. There we go. Oh, God. Sketchy, sketchy. Wheels up, wheels up. Oh, shit, shit, shit. Oh, fucking damn it. People are getting well, princess!
Hello there.
You know, this is like standard for me now. It's like I always forget my microphone is not on. And I blame OBS for that because it decides to do microphone for every single scene, and I can't change it. So if I turn it off for the intro, it's off for everything else. I'm going to have to, one of these days, if I have time, I'm going to fucking fix that. But unfortunately, in my life, I have 0 time. Anywho, hi everyone. My blood pressure's through the roof. Everything is breaking on me, and I am not happy about this. But I'm Tucker1701. This guy over here is the Wingsters, and he'll be streaming. He's streaming right now as well. We don't know where CyberSoul Rich is, even though I
Rich just said in my chat, sorry I can't join you guys today. Have a good one.
You know, he could have said that in Discord.
Yeah, I know.
I know he said he forgot about the stream, but it's like, I'm gonna try to make this every Monday. And, oh well.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just the two of us.
Yeah, there's actually a song called Just the Two of Us. It's an oldie. Oldie but a goodie. So, the only topic I've got is probably... what? What did Rich say?
Yes, I'm on it. I'm on it. God damn it.
Yeah, somebody forgot.
So it sounds like Rich may be joining us later, may not be. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, I would have done this. I would have started at 2 or 2:30, but I was at the gym. I wanted to get a good workout session in, so ran a little late. I had to pick up my post-workout drink, which it's by these guys called Happy Sips. They're based in Port St. Lucie, Florida, in the same area where I live. Great food. They got great drinks. I'm not sponsored by them. They're really great. Let's see. They got great drinks. They've got good events. They got a social media platform. If this thing will stop trying to blur it. Oh my god, this blurry's going to be really... It was a great idea at first. Now it's really starting to become a pain in my ass. But yeah, they've got social media. It's for Facebook, it's Happy Sips, and Instagram, it's at Happy Sips PSL. So give those guys a follow. Tell them that Tucker1701 sent you. And if you're in the Port St. Lucie area, give these guys a try. This is some good stuff. The drink I have is a key lime pie post-workout drink with protein, whey, and a whole bunch of amazing stuff. It really does taste like a key lime pie. It is that good. They also got caffeinated boba tea, which is great. I usually get the strawberry margarita one. The USS Florida, she freaking loves it. She gets super excited whenever she gets the strawberry margarita. I'm like, of course you do. The strawberry margarita freaking Rita. So when I was getting my post-workout drink, I was thinking what we were gonna do for a topic, and I was telling Wingsters right before we were streaming that what we're going to do is at the top we're going to do one topic and just see what the hell happens. And I think we may do that for the format from here on out, is whatever the topic's going to be, we talk about it, and then whatever happens, happens for the next hour and 35 minutes. So I was telling Wings, since we're all gamers, the question I had was, what was the very first video game that we played? And I'll give an example. Or actually, I'll start it off. That's okay with you, Wings.
Go right ahead.
So, the very first game that I can remember as far back was back in the 90s. It was either a Game Boy game. I think it was Super Mario on the original Game Boy, the big fat one from like 1989. Or it was Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit for the PC. I really don't remember. No, I take that back. It was an IBM Aptiva game. Way back in the 90s. It was called Rapid Assault. And I actually have it. It's not the original, but it's one I found on eBay because I wanted to play it again, and I got a chance to do it using the command prompt. So actually, let me grab it real quick. I've got it over here. So basically, it was one of the first. Where is it? No. God, I've got a lot of shit over here. And I just went through this too. Damn it! I need to get a poster. I need to get a poster board for that. Well, not a poster board. Where the hell is it? Oh wait, is it over here? I think it is. Yep, there it is. There it goes.
And for those that are watching my stream, I'll just tap in real quick and say, the first episode that we did, go check out Tucker's YouTube channel, which is Tucker1701. Check out his Twitch as well. That's where the first episode was. I was not able to stream when we did the first episode last Monday because of technical issues, but luckily this week I was able to get it fixed in time to be able to stream. So that's just for anybody that has watched my streams in the past that were wondering.
Translation, shit was breaking at his end.
Pretty much.
Yep, here it is. So this is the game called Rapid Assault. It is a MS-DOS video game. Now, this was originally made back in 1995, and this was for Windows and the IBM Aptiva, which used an operating system called OS2 Warp. OS2 and OS2 Warp. Now, I don't remember too much of it because I was like 5. But the game, actually, let me see if I can find a video footage of it so you guys can see, because I know people have it on here.
So, this is going to show the age gap of me and Tucker a little bit. I was a 2000s kid. I had a PS2. So the first games that I remember playing was Spiral and GTA San Andreas, believe it or not. Are the first two that I remember playing.
Okay, so there's going to be no audio to this. So this was Rapid Assault for me, which is basically a combat video game. So let me see if I can find. So you choose your vehicle. I remember this. You can choose whatever vehicle you want, and then this was basically it. You go hunting around, destroying stuff. You find like this checker flag. Whoops. There we go. I'm doing multiple things at once, not really paying attention. But this was more or less... Oh, shit. But this was basically Rapid Assault. That's basically what it was. It was an MS-DOS game that was a combat. You go around, you blow stuff up, you kill other players, and that was it. Now, I've been trying to play it again on my retro gaming computer called the Brick 2, which is a Windows XP based, because they can play anything prior. They could do Windows 3.1 games. They could do Windows 95, 98, 2000 XP. They could play those games. But I haven't been so lucky enough to actually get that working. I mean, I've got Duke Nukem 3D on there, and I only got it working once. But the game I did play the most when I was a kid was Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit in 1998 on my parents' Windows 95 or 98 computer that a friend of ours built. Oh, God. Which, ironically, I have that one, too. In this folder of many games. And I shit you not. I've got a lot of them, including the original Halo. And they're all, well, not all, most of them are installed on the brick. But yeah, I've got Need for Speed 2, Need for Speed 3. I mean, here's the original one. My original Need for Speed 3. I'm gonna get rid of this blur. This thing is so damn stupid.
I think you can turn it off in Discord.
I might be able to.
But, yeah, my
There we
beginning
go.
of gaming started on the PS2.
Yeah, a lot. That was when it took off for me, really, was actually on the Sega Genesis for me. Which, if you saw the last episode, I did show I still have my original set. Well, not original. We sold that on eBay. But we did get a complete in-box Sega Genesis with the original box, too. So that was my first console. Was Sega Genesis in 2000... I want to say 2003. And we didn't get our first PlayStation 2 until, like, 2005. Like, 2004, 2005. And that was a PlayStation Slim.
So,
Yeah.
so here's my background when I was about getting into video games. At the time, we had a PS2 and a, I think either Windows Vista or Windows XP PC at the time.
Probably.
My dad was the one that always used the computer. Me and my brother had to share the PlayStation. So, that was, you know, growing up, yes, that did cause some arguments between me and my brother as usual. Usual things growing up.
Yeah, it's like me and my brother.
So, anyways, we shared it, and everything, and at the time when I got into games, I played games like GTA San Andreas was one of them, Spiral, even though the copy that we had was not really reading the greatest, so it kept crashing and having issues and stuff like that, so I never actually got to play through the entire game. San Andreas, same story. Everyone knows that there was a certain version on the PS2 version of San Andreas. If you used too many cheats, it broke the game to a point where you couldn't complete it.
I never knew that.
Yes, there's... It was a certain version. I can't remember the actual... Fuck, I can't remember what the actual version was, because it was based off of the code when they scan it to get the price when you buy the game at, you know, video game stores back in the day.
Right.
So it was based off of that, you know, number of units sold.
And just
So
for
it was a
all...
certain amount of...
Yeah, there was a certain amount, but not to cut you off, like, just for all you young viewers out there, there was this ancient store that was called GameStop. and it used to sell physical copies, okay? Now, for all you youngsters out there, if you don't know what a physical copy is, it's basically something like this. A physical copy with a box and a beautiful artwork, and inside of it was a disc. Now, I don't have mine because it's in the PS4 right now. That was what it's called, a physical disc. Yes, it's an ancient form of media, but you know what? It works. So when the PlayStation Network goes down, I can still play my game. Anywho.
Now that Tucker has explained that, but back in the day, San Andreas had that issue and everything, and so the PS2 version, if you cheated it too much, which I did, to the point where pretty much every cheat was enabled, So, essentially, with every cheat enabled and everything, what that caused is the mission with Mad Dog. Once you get to Los Venturas, that mission actually breaks, where you're not able to complete it because Mad Dog dies every single time you attempt to do that mission.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one. Hang on, I
So
actually.
that's
Where the fuck is it?
So that's what broke that version, and when Rockstar found out about this, they couldn't do much about it because gaming consoles weren't at the time where you could just update the game remotely.
Right. Oh shit.
They
there it is.
had to put out a new version through a new disc.
Oh
back
yeah.
then.
Speaking of San Andreas, here's my original copy from the Xbox original. And I know that because here are all my cheats. I have them on flashcards. I've got them on little yellow note stickies. I've printed them out. Actually, I want to look at that. Because I used to use these religiously.
So, by the way, I will
God.
note this.
Here they are.
And Tucker, I will note this. You know the definitive versions of the GTA trilogy?
Yeah?
Those cheats actually work.
Why am I
The
not
piece-
surprised?
They still kept the cheats working.
Of course they did.
So,
Okay.
anyways, that was, one of the games that I just goofed around in. It wasn't until after high school when I actually played through the story of San Andreas and I actually completed it.
Hey,
Granted,
Wings.
I still cheated the game.
Hey, Wings. I found my original receipt for San Andreas when I bought this.
Oh, good lord.
October 5th, 2007. Right here. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. It was from the ancient store called GameStop. I am keeping that. It's actually in good condition too, because all my other receipts have gone AFU.
So, play games like that. So, there was that, my oldest brother did have an Xbox 360 at one point, which eventually, after the piece of shit quit on him, he had turned around and bought a PS3.
Oh, that was the same way with my brother. We had a PS2 Slim, and the biggest problem, we went through two of them because of the power supply. The little power cord in the back, it was a little barrel jack. Those things were prone to breaking. And Evie, yes, I am aware, I'm late, but you know what? I have a life. It happens, bud. And I remember real quick. I remember we went from the PS2 to the original Xbox. My brother went PlayStation 3. He bought a PS3 later. But we went to the original Xbox. My brother first got a job. He bought this original Xbox that I have from one of my best friends back in high school. He bought it for the both of us, but then I ended up using it. So we went to a play and trade, which was a retro game store. And my brother bought a Mountain Dew Edition original Xbox. It didn't have the controllers. And my brother's like, all right, he bought it for like $20. And little side note real quick. He gave that original Xbox to one of our best friends. And then recently I told my brother, I went to a retro game store near me, and they had a Mountain Dew Edition Xbox original console for $600. And I knew that thing was going to be rare because it was both sought after. It was a Mountain Dew Edition. They usually came around when Halo 2 came out.
So, to better explain that sort of thing, special edition consoles like that one, for example, usually they make only roughly 2,000 units for that type of advertisement. So those consoles are actually very rare. It's the same thing when the PlayStation 2 got over the 5 million units actually sold, Sony actually made 3 different color PlayStations to celebrate that at the time, and there's only 2,000 of those colors.
Yep, I saw one of them at this game store. They had a 5,000 edition one, and I'm like, oh shit. And the guy was asking for, I think he said $1,000 for it, because it was complete in box, and it was still had its original plastic on it. And I'm like, dude, whoever sold you that is a moron, because I would have held on to that until it got like to $2,000, and I would have sold it.
So there's been known for that, where they've done, you know, custom consoles that are extremely rare like that.
Yeah. And the one thing I want to tag on about the Xbox version, because I had San Andreas for the Xbox and PS2. I never finished the one on the PS2, but I did finish the one on the Xbox. The cool thing I liked about the Xbox original was GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. If you had music installed on your original Xbox, you can play that in the game. So I remember playing GTA 3, and I'm listening to Journey Separate Ways, and it goes to Fallout Boy, and then whatever music I was listening to back in the mid to late 2000s, which was...
That's what we did with the original PC version when we got it on PC. Is we actually had a file in game that had music in it, and I used to listen to that stuff for years, but after, you know, Steam redid their shit and whatever, you can't, you know, deleted the file or whatever. And
yeah, they did that for everything from GTA 4 on back. They said, we're getting rid of it. I'm like, why? It's brilliant. I mean, I've got the hard copy of GTA 4, and I'm going to have to see if I can still do that, because the computer I'm broadcasting off, which is, I call it the rig, or I think whatever I call it this time, I don't remember. I've renamed this thing so many times. But yeah, I could play GTA 4 because I'm not doing it through Steam. It's going directly through Rockstar's launcher. So I could do it that way. And I gotta see if the file's still there, but I doubt it. This came straight from Rockstar themselves. Well, I'm thinking about it. For people who don't know, I have, on my original Xbox, I am able to play online games again. And that is because of a company called, what was it? Hang on, I gotta go grab it again. I'll show you guys. So, this online, this company was able to bring back the original Xbox servers. And I've got it here somewhere. I'm having a brain fart right now. This is what happens when you get old, kids.
Yeah, well, so there was a lot of that stuff. You know, and there was a period of time where when GTA 4 first came out, we had it on PC, we had the physical copy, but our computer at the time wasn't optimized for it. So there was only a certain amount of time that we could play it before the temperature sensors went off, because it got too warm and whatever. Anyways, there was a period because of, you know, how realistic GTA 4 became compared to the GTA trilogy. My parents decided that I was not allowed to play GTA 4 and up because of how graphical changes happened. And it was ultimately because of the strip clubs. It was because my parents wanted to raise me and respect women. So because of that, they didn't want me playing a game that kind of disrespects women at a young age.
That makes sense. I get that. I respect that. And that's how it should be. So, not to get sidetracked, but this is the company, Insignia. I just remembered it. So, Wings, I think you'll find this cool if you have an original Xbox. The cool thing about this is that you don't need to mod your Xbox. they have two methods. They've got a method where you could do a hard mod and a soft mod. The soft mod is pretty straightforward. And I'm not going to explain it. There's YouTube videos out there that could do it better than I can. But what this does is that it brings back the original Xbox servers, including the DLCs. And they have games like Project Gotham Racing 2, Star Wars Battlefront, the original 1 and 2, Fable, Halo 2. Halo 2 is the biggest one on here. Now, there was another company that I've used for years. I can't remember its name right now. I think I have it on my desktop. I don't remember. Hang on one second. I think I have it on my desktop. I did at one point. But, whoops, I hate it when it does this shit. It says it's currently running. I'm trying to scroll. There we go, that's better. I just don't have to click on anything. Discord, pick a lane and stick with it. So, yeah, it's just all you gotta do is create an account. They'll give you an invite code that you will have to use once you get it set up on your Xbox. Once you get, once you go through the tutorial on how to set it up, it'll ask for that invite code, and then you just sign up on the original Xbox like you would when you're playing it for the very first time, like Xbox Live is still there. But you have to have an Ethernet cable for that. The original Xbox does not have, it doesn't have Wi-Fi. That didn't come around until like the Xbox 360, but that wasn't standard. It came, you had to buy an accessory for that. The Xbox One was the only one that actually you actually had to, well, actually it came with it. My brain's not working. So I was playing Halo 2 on the original Xbox. I was playing Project Gotham Racing 3. I was doing so many things on there because I've got them. And the cool part was when I went to play Star Wars Battlefront 2, I could download all those DLCs that I never got before. So I got every single map, including all of the Ghost Recon games. Anything that had a DLC, because all my Xbox games are over here. So I could download all the DLCs for the games. And I could play them again, go up against actual players, even though I royally suck at Halo 2. But nevertheless, it was all there. But I'm going to pause for a minute because there's something I forgot to mention at the very beginning of the stream. For people who don't know, today is Memorial Day in America. Now, Memorial Day is a day not for people to get off and to have barbecues, drink beers, and have like a little mini vacation. Memorial Day is a day to remember those who have served our country, who have fought and died for our freedom. And so I want to say to every veteran out there, I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for your self-sacrifice. You have not been forgotten. Even if no one tells you, we will tell you here. Thank you for your service. I forgot to do that in the stream, but I was rushing to get here. So now that everything's all settled, there we go. So I just wanted to say that on behalf of everyone from Streamers Unfiltered and the Imperial Strike Force, we thank you for your service, and we thank you for defending our freedom. Now that's out of the way. Yeah, sorry. I'm all over the board right now, so I'm just like, eh.
No, it's understandable and everything, and so, for about, 10 years, we had a PS2, one computer. Our brother had his own game console and whatever, because he was able to buy it himself and everything and do what he wanted to do, because obviously my oldest brother is 12 years older than I am, so by the time I was 4 or 5 years old, he was in high school, had a job, had his driver's license, did his own thing. So, anyways, the point being is, for a while, we always grew up with, what we had is what we had.
Right. That was,
So it wasn't
that was pretty much
until
us, too.
about. So it wasn't until about, you know, on I think Christmas of 2011 or 2012-ish when I got my PS3.
Oh my god. There was I remember there was an old game that I used to play with my brother. Because what happened was, when I was younger, my brother and I got 2 different computers. He got one when he graduated high school, and then I had my parents' old computer, which was a Dell, I think 3400. It was a Dell Inspiron. It was the one that had the capacitor plague. It was the one that where the motherboard would literally explode, and then you're pretty much shit out of luck. But there was this old MMORPG back from 2007, maybe even before that, and it's still online to this day, and it was called MU Online. And I'm actually gonna give you a good example of it. Now, let's see right here. This is basically MU Online. It's a top-down, third-person shooter. Now, this video comes from Muttrax, so I'm just letting y'all know this was the first one I found. This is not mine. I have it on this computer, but unfortunately, the problem is it's a really small screen. I mean, literally, I can't make it full. I'm trying to get the right resolution for it. And I used to play this off of Windows XP. And I'm actually trying to see if I could get this to work on the rig, because that's what I originally played on. Now, this was an online-based game, and it's still going to this day. They're on season 16. And I had an account, and I was like level 100. Yeah, season 19. This is from 4 months ago. So it was very fun. I'm actually trying to see if I can get it back. And if I could broadcast it on the rig here, I'll do it. Or actually not the rig and or the brick. So I might do that later on today just to see if I can, because I'm kind of curious. Because this has online the computer has wow. You really didn't sleep well, did you, bud? Nope, I did not. Brain no worky. But on the Windows XP computer, it has online capability. And I want to see if I can get that to work so I can play it on what it was originally designed for, which was that. Instead of my gaming computer, which, I mean, it can handle it. I mean, for God's sake, this thing can run off of a freaking potato. The graphics on this thing are so... Actually, hell, hold on. I want to see what the specifications are for this thing, because I'm curious. And I used to play this game religiously. Let's see. This is coming straight from... here we go. So, MU Online requires 32 gigabytes. Actually, that's minimum. Pentium 4 2.0 gigahertz or higher. This thing can run off of a freaking potato. It says operating system XP. That's recommended, but it can go up to Windows. Hey, stupid. There is no Windows 9. They skipped one. You see this crap? Look at this. It says Windows 9. Windows 9X. There is no Windows 9X. There was Windows 8 and Windows 10.
Well, if I remember correctly, there was Windows 8, 8.1, then 10.
Yeah, but there was never a 9. It's like, can this thing handle my graphics card? Yeah. I have an RTX 3060. This thing is recommending something less. It's like, yeah, this thing can easily run off of it. I want to see if I can find a better one, to be honest with you. System requirements. Minimum is a Pentium 3. Yeah, it says Pentium 3 with a 3D graphics processor, 32 gigabytes, which I think this is. I've got a Pentium 4. Windows XP. They recommend Windows XP. So, yeah, I'm gonna make the attempt to re-download MU Online because I haven't been able to get it to work on that computer, but I'm gonna try again tonight just to see if I can, because that would be awesome. And if I could play MU Online on that again, I'm gonna be streaming off of that more often because I've been meaning to use the brick for some time now. Even though I got it for free, but I've got a lot of money invested into getting that thing operating again. I mean...
Okay. Here's an interesting fact.
Oh, yeah, the game...
This is
from Wings, guys.
This is the last NHL game that was on PC, which is NHL 2009. It was also the last one to be on PS2. That's the NHL game I remember playing not only on PC, but PS2.
I think I might have... Actually, hang on. I don't think I have that one. I've got...
But look at the release date. September 9th, 2008.
I just graduated high school that year. Jeez, you're making me feel old, Wings.
So, if we do 2008 minus 2025, we haven't had an NHL game on PC in 17 years.
Yeah, I think people have been asking for that too.
Now, the rumor mill is, which this has not been confirmed yet, the rumor mill is that the next NHL, which is NHL 26, is rumored to be put on PC. Now, the reason is because the contract that EA has with NHL. Is the reason why it's been rumored. Is because NHL wants EA to expand it to PC because they see it as more of a financial game, because the NHL, the National Hockey League, does actually get a profit of what the game makes.
Yeah, they get a kickback.
Yeah, they get a kickback, essentially. So that's why the NHL has kind of been on EA about, why is it not on PC? And they've made excuses for years that because the PC gaming community keeps hacking our games and keeps doing this, and this, and we don't know how to fucking handle it.
Well, no
Hire
shit.
Hire a team that knows how to handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
Rockstar has a team that built a fucking algorithm for their games, so if they see someone in multiplayer that's modding the game, granted GTA still has that problem, yes, there's certain mods that are undetected by that algorithm, but Rockstar made that algorithm using their own in-house development team to be able to fucking do it.
Yeah, and here's the thing with EA. They're having the same problem with FIFA. And my brother was telling me this. The latest FIFA game, even F1 has the same problem coming from Electronic Arts. The problem is they make a game that's broken. And they don't know how to fix it. So a lot of these modding communities have to make the game playable. That's why they mod them. And what my brother was telling me, that when he was playing FIFA, I think 24 or 25, the game was so broken that when you did career mode, that it was unplayable. He said, I couldn't hire players. I had to keep firing good players and get shitty players. He goes,
well, here's a little inside thing about the F1 game. The company that actually, what a lot of people forget, is EA is just a publisher for the F1 title.
Right.
The F1 title is actually licensed by a development team by F1 directly. They picked FIA and F1 because F1 goes for FIA and everything. They picked the development team. That development team, believe it or not, has a lot of the people that worked on NR 2003 of NASCAR.
Oh, jeez.
So because of that, that's where that company came from, was a lot of the people, when the company that made NR 2003 disbanded, a lot of them created their own development team, and that's how the F1 title ended up in their hands, from my understanding. I may be wrong about that, but because I also know some of the people that made NR 2003 are behind iRacing, and that's how that got developed.
Yeah. And honestly, I do want to play iRacing. It looks like fun. And honestly, if I'm going to be playing iRacing, I'm going to need a steering wheel and pedals. And honestly, since I got a pay raise at work, I think I might invest into that. And Best Buy's got one right now, so I'm like, ooh.
I think iRacing is either a monthly or a yearly subscription that you have to have.
I think it might be monthly. If it's yearly, I would consider it. Well, let's look through the eyes of Wingsters. Yep, membership. I just saw it. Scroll up. Right there. Down. Yep. Yeah, go to iRacing. Accept all the cookies. I think membership would be on top. There it is. Let's see. Oh, you need to sign in.
Yep. So I would have no idea. But
I think it's like, I think I saw it for like $30 a month, I think.
But iRacing is essentially basically
everything.
What I've learned from iRacing is it uses the same graphics and stuff that NR 2003 originated based off of, and over the years they've upgraded the engines, upgraded the graphics and everything else, upgraded the car models and everything. Basically, iRacing is basically, if you loved NR 2003 and loved how that game played and how realistic that game is, I highly recommend you invest in iRacing.
Yeah, let me.
There's no other game makes it like this.
Tracks, features, memberships. I think I just saw it. Actually, I want to check the system requirements. Let's see. For PC, they are calling for. Let's see. Okay, minimum of 4 cores, recommended 6 cores, high end 8 cores. So they're calling for 8 cores. For high end would be Intel Core i9 10th generation, or an AMD Ryzen 3rd generation, which I will be getting. Because I gotta upgrade this thing anyways. Or a 3950X. I would love that. I might have to see if there's any. Graphics card, minimum 4 gigabytes up to 8. Well, I'm set on that. I mean, it says here you could run this thing off of a GTX 1060, but it's gonna be a potato. But however, you can run this off of a 2080 Ti or AMD Radeon 8. Storage 25 gigabytes, recommend 100 for all cars and tracks. DX11. So this thing, if you have a computer that you're trying to build for iRacing, I mean, here are the specs for it.
Yeah.
I mean, my old computer can run off of this thing. Well, not really. It's got an FX processor in it. That thing ain't gonna be able to do crap.
But anyways, the point being is that EA has been known for certain things, but going into, like the modding community, for example, modding community, it depends on certain things. Now,
There
for
it is.
example,
There you go, Wings. Here's the price. Sorry to cut you off, but I just found it. So,
yeah, I see that.
Looks like for monthly, you're looking at. Oops. So they're running a sale right now for 40% off. 1 month, it's $7.80. Regular price is $13 a month. For 3 months, it's normally $33. They're going for $20. For 1 year, it's $66 versus $110. And for 2 years, it's instead of $200, it's $119. Let me see if I can read the small print. So I would probably get something like this for $13 a month to go iRacing. I mean, yeah. But I want to upgrade this. I want to upgrade the processor first before I do this, because I do want to do. That would be cool to do like an iRacing league of our own. We could, because I think you could do F1 in here, right? Or IndyCar. I mean, there is.
I think Indy, NASCAR, GP, I know for a fact is in there.
Yeah, here's NASCAR. You got the trucks. You got the. Ooh, that'd be fun. The legendary cars.
Yes, they have all dirt tracks.
Oh, the 34 coupe. That'd be cool. Let's see. So
Yeah,
you got the GTs, like you said. Here are the sport car ones. Let's see. Oh, for the love of God, the Xfinity series, circa 2011.
Yeah, they have, I think, almost every generation. I think the only one that they don't have is the Car of Tomorrow ones, which...
They sucked.
Those NASCAR ones sucked. I hated those.
Oh, cool. Check it out. They got Indy cars. They got Formula 1 cars. That'd be cool. Run with... Wait, do they have McLaren? Oh, cool. Super Formula... A Toyota. Nice. They got McLaren. That looks like... Was that Williams? No, Mercedes AMG. Ah, here's McLaren. McLaren Honda? When did that happen? Yeah, let's see. You also got the dirt ovals, like you said, the dirt tracks. Rallycross. There we go.
Yeah, there's rally racing as well. Trophy trucks.
I want to do the NASCAR trucks. Those are the dirt trucks.
Yep.
This would be pretty cool if we did something like this. Just get a bunch of people to do iRacing. That would be cool. Because we used to do something like that in Forza. When it was just like Forza 3, Forza 4. And I remember when I used to play Forza 3 and 4, I always went with the NASCAR stock cars. And everyone thought I was crazy doing a race with a NASCAR stock car, and I'm running a road course, but yet I'm beating them. And the only thing I changed was the transmission. I went from 4 gears to 6. And everyone used to get pissed off at me. They're like, NASCAR stock cars aren't supposed to have more than 4 gears. Yeah, well, guess what? This one doesn't. So...
Well, guess what? That changed because now they're sequential, so now they're 5 speeds.
Mm-hmm.
At least the cup cars are. Below is not. They're still the old Jericho 4 speeds.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing about the Xfinity series. They always get the Cup Series' car that they had the year before, so they get the hand-me-downs. So I might actually look into that.
So anyways, going back to, the whole modded thing, if Tucker was to look at my screen, this is a primary example of a modding community fixing a game. This is Saints Row 2. For those that don't know the origin story of Saints Row 2, when Volition created the game with THQ back in the day, which doesn't exist anymore, and if people are wondering, yes, the THQ name has re-existed, but it's now THQ Nordic because Nordic Games bought the THQ name.
Right, I remember seeing that.
So that's just that clarification. So the original THQ has been faltered since after Saints Row 3 came out. Anyways, Saints Row 2, Volition didn't know how to do a PC port at the time, so they offshored the PC port. The PC port is so broken on Saints Row 2 that a community or a guy named Idle Ninja, which his actual name was Mike Watson, and a group of people in the community created what was known as the Gentleman on the Road mod. This mod added extra content. It added a bunch of shit. Like, not what I meant to click.
Oh, cool.
Do this. Go over to YouTube. Do that. Do this. This is the Gentleman on the Road mod. At the time of this video, yes, Mike Watson was community manager of Volition. He unfortunately passed away a couple years ago due to cancer. Volition also shut down last year, so that kind of gives everybody an update of that stuff.
E.T.
So today I present to you one of Idle Ninja's most groundbreaking mods to date. Say hello to the Gentleman of the Road mod for Saints Row 2. This mod's original intention was to fix the PC version of Saints Row 2. It's one of the few games that had a sloppy export to the computer and needed a lot of help. But this mod also has an incredible amount of modding content. When you first download the Gentleman of the Road, you're given a program where you can mod individual properties within the game.
Number of items, penis.
The Gentleman of the Row adds a total of 18 new weapons. Some are returning weapons from Saints Row 1 and others are just insane. One of them is an RPG that fires Molotov chainsaws and the other shoots flamingo nukes.
Only Saints Row would do that.
The melee weapons include Junichi's dual sword, Thor's hammer Mjolnir, and the brass knuckle that causes people to explode. The rest are already existing weapons, but slightly modified to molest your enemies. My favorite weapon is the handheld septic gun. Need I say more?
Need I say more?
The customization also gained a variety of options. The selection of taunts, walk styles, and body features have increased, and so has the clothing and tattoo features. Muscle mass has also become more in depth.
Oh God.
Sensor bars. Idle, you dirty devil.
No sensor bars?
So now you can.
Yep.
Another neat feature is that there's 2 new cribs in the game. You unlock Aisha's house after completing the prologue, or you can purchase Dane Vogel's yacht. The first person mode is quite interesting. You can't see your weapon, but otherwise it feels like a natural feature. Sandbox Plus is also included in this mod. Unfortunately, my game freezes every time I try to activate it. Basically, it lets you access more taunts from your keyboard or teleport to locations.
Kind of feels like Saints Row 3.
In my opinion, I prefer that less things on my
Yeah.
also makes flying more beautiful. Last but not least is the new Zombie Uprising. How it's located in the mall and you can control a range of characters from the story. Never would I think I'd play Junichi in Zombie Uprising. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in anything you've seen,
I'm gonna have to look for that.
So, it's a great mod. I have it because I have the PC version of Saints Row 2. This is, you know, a part 2
New unicorn tree.
advertisement. Gonna mute that.
Unicorn Dream Slush. Oh, good lord. That looks like diabetes.
I had to mute it because copyright, most likely.
Yeah.
going into 2 parts, but I missed so much content in my first video, I can't leave you guys hanging like that. So let's do this. Here's part 2 of Gentleman in the Road mod for Saints Row 2. To start off, there's more than just 2 new cribs in this mod. The Ultra Tower serves as a crib with a few other features. You can either get your helicopter from the helipad or drive out the window with any of your vehicles. Google's desk and teleport locations. One takes you to the secret island with the Loch Ness Monster. The other takes you to the Ultra Dome that now has a garage access point. Another takes you to the Ronin Tower, and the last one takes you to a gem that was only used in one cutscene. But not only were new cribs added, some of the existing ones got upgrades. The airport crib now lets you access your clothes and weapons, and you can get your not only that, you can now customize your aircrafts. This blows my mind on so many levels. I could get into an argument about this feature not being in Saints Row 3 and 4, but... Okay, let's continue. There's a from at the dealerships and at the Volition gift shop, you can buy a bunch of vehicles you wouldn't normally see unless you're in the mission.
E.T.
At the docks, there's a new dealership that lets you buy modified helicopters, the sense of sounding limo used in only cutscenes, and a drivable train. But the most insane thing's a train that flies. I mean, it's a flying train, and you can customize it. I'm speechless.
I'm speechless.
I forgot to mention is the ability to play any character in the game. Anyone you can think of can now be chosen from your phone. There's also an option to change the team you're on, so you can fully fulfill your fantasy of playing the Ronin or something. Just make sure to change your character back to normal before playing a cutscene or your game will crash. There's a bunch of new clothing options. You can now unlock 61 pieces of other characters' clothes throughout either playing the story or just buying them.
Oh god, it got a guy wearing a hot tank top. It's like, oh god, I can't unsee that.
There's also a bunch of new logos you can choose from. In part 1, I said Sandbox Plus only lets you teleport to any location. Boy, I was wrong. By simply clicking the number 8 3 times on your keyboard, you have access to every animation in the game, teleportation to any location, and a bunch of small features like changing the look of a location and changing teams like I said previously. There's a lot of other features I forgot to mention before too. RPGs fire nearly as fast as a minigun now instead of tornado missiles. The Bulldog, Wolverine, and the Bear now fire missiles too, but it's very hard to drive at times. There's a bunch of new options in the mechanic like detail, color, and such. And
They also, one of the things that they add in is there is an option with the Tornado helicopter to have rocket gates.
Oh god.
Yep.
Museum. The DLC for the console version has been ported, and finally there's a new custom race at the mall. If you're getting bored with the look of your gang, there's now a bunch of new customization options for them. You can now have a gang of 5
Pimps and hoes.
There's also 21 new vehicles to choose from for your gang, and a few new gang sprays. Well guys, that's it for part 2. All I can say is this mod's amazing, and everyone with the PC version of this game should have it. From originally being a console player of this game, I had no idea Saints Row 2 could be any better than it is already. Thanks to Title Ninja, I can now finally fulfill my ultimate fantasy. Have you been looking for the next popular video game simulator? Well, look
Oh
no further.
jeez.
Move aside Ghost Farm Simulator. This next title will blow.
I actually have Saints Row 2 for the Xbox 360.
Gamers have destroyed them without a second thought. Until now, introducing the most realistic simulator to date,
Grandma Simulator.
Person on an everyday street through the town. Travel hold your cane stretcher or oxygen tank and take a blast into an adventure unlike any other. Forget who you are. Discover the smell coming from your pants, and above all, take on every activity you had no idea Grandma was doing. Participate in drug deals.
It's participate in drug deals. That's Grandma.
Yeah,
Grandma
essentially.
Grandma needs to get her special medication from the drug dealer.
And of course, YouTube crashed on Firefox again. Son of a bitch.
There's your first problem. You're using Firefox.
But anyways, you get the whole point of the mod and everything. So, now, granted, I don't know why, but still, even with the mod, Gentlemen in the Row, even with that mod, it still crashes every once in a while on the PC version. I don't know why it has that issue on Steam, but it apparently does for some reason.
Maybe there's a bug that they didn't fix on there.
Well, the thing is what a lot of people don't know is Saints Row 2, before Idle Ninja passed away, he was working on an official patch because he found the original source code for the PC version. Volition thought they lost it after THQ shut down. So Idle Ninja, ever since he started at Volition, was hunting down that source code because he wanted that version of the game to be fixed.
Right. It makes sense.
It just never happened, and unfortunately with Volition being shut down, Deep Silver still technically owns the Saints Row IP. We don't know what's going to happen.
Oh god, that's gonna be expensive. Yeah, I while I'm listening to you, this is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I see.
I actually want to get this because they're doing the 7th wave. I have the Hornet, and I have Hornet from Azure Lane on the Hornet, but I also want this. Because the other ships they've got are... Damn it, I'm really getting sick of this crap.
So that is an example of the modding community fixing a broken game.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at, but typically what modding communities do is they mod the game to basically they look in the game files and see what the video game developers left behind in the file.
Yeah.
And restore what's left in the files that the video game developers left. Perfect example is I see in certain YouTube videos of Red Dead Redemption 2 is in the game files you could actually be fully shirtless, but it was cut from the final version of the game.
Yeah, I did
So there's
hear
a
something
mod
about
that fixed that. So that's what modding communities do, is they fix stuff like that.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, it was interesting. I was talking to my brother about the new Oblivion that came out, the Mastered series. And they said that they had to get the modders of the original Oblivion to help them make this new one. They said that the reason why they made the remastered series was because of these modders. And also the community, how big it was. So when the game was about to launch, they gave all the modders a free copy and dev access to this game so they can fix it, update it. Because they're like, you guys know this game better than we do, and we're the ones who made it. And they said, if anything breaks, you guys can handle it, because you guys are doing this better than we did. So they said, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have done this remaster. And my brother was playing it. He goes, that was his game. Oblivion and Skyrim, that's his shit. And he's got like hundreds of hours in those games. He's like, dude, they did a fantastic job redoing Oblivion. Now for me, it was Fable. I mean, he liked Fable 2, but I played the crap out of it. I mean, I've got Fable 1 on the brick. I never played Fable 1. I went into Fable 2, played the crap out of that, and I'm kind of honest, I kind of want to do a rerun of Fable 2. Just gotta find my Xbox 360. I mean, it's in the living room somewhere. I just gotta find the room here to hook it up. Because that game was fun. I had a blast. That's one of the only MMORPGs I've ever played that I liked. I mean, I've never been a fan of... I mean, I can't say I've been a fan, but I haven't been a fan of, like, Magic and Dungeons and Dragons sort of thing. I mean, I was either racing or playing war games. But Fable was one of the rare few ones that I could play that fantasy kind of lifestyle and have a good time. I actually want to look something up while I'm thinking about it. Because...
You gotta know what still is one of the things that is kind of surprising. So, I saw this short the other day, and the short is talking about, the evolution of PlayStation and everything, and how Sony has a bad security issue, where the PS2, PS3, and PS4 were easy enough to jailbreak and essentially mod the console and do whatever with the console, essentially. Basically hack the console in a way that the company did not design you being able to use it.
Right.
That's what the term jailbreak means for consoles. It unlocks that version of the console. So, one of the things that, people have been curious about is how long did it take for the PS5 to be busted into? Roughly about a year and a half. It took after the PS5 came out for someone to actually finally jailbreak it.
I'm an idiot.
But yet, Sony has never come out and said that their consoles are easy to jailbreak. All
Yeah.
they've always done is just as soon as they see a version of their console being jailbroken on the internet, they just put out a patch update and fix whatever thing that someone found.
Yeah.
So, in reality, Sony is doing what Sony does best,
And pissing
Let-
off the wrong people.
letting the community break their consoles so that way they know what's wrong and how to fix them.
Ooh.
Unlike Microsoft, if we remember back in the 360 days, where the Red Ring of Death happened because of a hardware issue, which took way too long to put new 360s out that fixed that hardware issue.
Oh yeah, I went through 3 of them.
And that hardware issue, for those that weren't around during the 360 era, that hardware issue was known as the thermal paste that they used on their motherboards on the 360s back in the day was too weak of a thermal paste because they weren't using a cheap thermal paste at the time.
Oh, so that was the problem.
And it caused, over time, once that thermal paste wore off, caused the CPU to actually overheat to a certain extent where it killed the CPU in the console, which is what caused the Red Ring of Death. That was the hardware issue. Eventually, Microsoft finally fixed it in the later years of the 360, but it took them a few years before they figured it out. And there's still videos on this day of people taking their 360s after the Red Ring of Death and just smashing them into pieces.
Yeah. Oh, crap, monkeys. Okay, so I looked up Fable 2. I wanted to get the DLCs for them. And they have it for the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X, which is right here. I can get it with Game Pass. And it's all here. One problem. I don't want to put it to the Xbox One. I want it on my 360. But they shut down the marketplace a couple months back. And this was the one game I didn't think of getting that. Getting all these DLCs. Because most of them are free or $1. It's just like, oh, come on.
To mention that, the reason why the marketplace for 360 and PS3 no longer exists is because the PS5 and Series X.
Yeah, I know. That's the reason why.
That's why they don't exist anymore. But doesn't mean that it exists still for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
For now, at least.
Yeah, for now at least. Let's see.
Eventually, if, the PS6 or the next Xbox console gets announced, most likely it will go bye-bye for the Xbox One and PS4.
Well, that's how it usually works. Oh, hello. Steam's got Fable 2, I think. I don't care about Anniversary. I just want to find Fable 2. Okay, so they have Fable Anniversary Edition for $34. Hang on. Oh, you guys freaking suck. Okay, let me try. Was it? I'm not gonna try Steam. I'm gonna try GOG. Cause I've got that.
I don't at the moment.
Yeah, I got GOG because I wanted to get oh god, they got Medal of Honor Allied Assault on here.
That's what a lot of people are saying. If they're starting games on Steam, go to GOG because they probably have them.
That's why I got I got Star Trek Bridge Commander on here. Fable 2.
Which The other thing I will note, since the PS3 and 360 era, the online marketplace, all that stuff is now going down with the new consoles being out for the past couple of years, and that was the generation before the Xbox One and PS4. What a lot of people don't realize is certain games from that era, servers are starting to go down of online stuff, like, say for instance, the Uncharted 3 multiplayer may no longer work anymore. You know, certain stuff like that.
Hold that thought for a
And
second.
the reason is because companies need to repurpose those servers, update those servers to new games.
Right. Check this out, Wings. I just went to Internet Archive. I found Fable 2 Game of the Year Edition, and I believe this is the file for the Xbox 360. It does. I typed in PC, and this showed up.
Interesting.
Yeah. I kind of want to see if this is the Xbox for the Xbox 360, because if it is, I'm putting it on the flash drive, and I'm downloading it on the Xbox 360. Actually, let me see if I can get the files. All 9 files.
One of the other things that I noticed too is Sony, instead of doing backwards compatibility, likes to do remasters of their old games.
Well, yeah, that's...
Which I understand for them because it's a marketing move, because they can make more money and they can transfer the remasters to PCs, essentially. So it's a good move, but then you look at, you know, Microsoft, who always has had backwards compatibility for years. So anyone can go back to play their old games. And because of that, a lot of people have noticed Microsoft exclusives recently have kind of tanked because of the fact that a lot of people prefer the older games compared to the newer games.
Well, yeah, it's always been like that. Even people like my generation and your generation, when they play these newer games, it doesn't have that same finesse like, say, the newer ones. I mean, a lot of the newer games, I mean, graphic-wise, they're incredible. But when it comes to, like, gameplay-wise, story-wise, mechanic-wise, it's not the same. And what a good example is, like, the only one I can think of right now is Fable. Fable had an incredible, in-depth story with a great mechanics. I mean, granted, the graphics were a little cartoonish, but it was the time. Now you don't have games that are story-driven. They're all multiplayer-driven. Like Overwatch. Overwatch was supposed to be story-driven. The second one, at least. But they only had 4 campaigns. They've had 4 or 5 stories, and that was it. The rest was all multiplayer-driven. Battleborn, which was another Xbox exclusive that unfortunately got canned. And it was a great game. It was made by 2K, and it was the same guys who did Borderlands. I mean, it was one of my favorites. I loved it. It was like Borderlands. It was like Borderlands, but it had an Overwatch mechanic style. But they also had a storyline and DLCs that you could buy. But the one thing I hated about that game was the fact that once the servers went down, it was down. You can't play it anymore. You can't even play the single player anymore, which sucked. Because, I mean, it sucked because I had a storyline that I wanted to complete, but I never did. However, there is a modding community for the PC version, which I do plan on getting. But I want to check Fable 2 out here, see if this is for the PC, great. Because then I can either throw it on here at the rig, I'll try for that, which I'm not holding my breath. But I do want to try it, and it's the Game of the Year edition too. And if it is for the Xbox, I'm going to throw it on that. Because I've been looking for the Game of the Year edition, but what'd you find, Wink?
So, I completely forgot about this. So, since you brought up 2K, wanted to bring up something that I'm kind of looking forward to in August of this year. Now, granted, there's an advertisement, so I'm going to mute this and let the advertisement play. But 2K and Hangar 13, as we all know, makes the Mafia franchise.
De La Familia.
This is their next coming title that is releasing August 8th, 2025. This is the gameplay trailer that they dropped a couple weeks ago. I haven't seen it yet. And I don't know if Tucker has seen it, so...
No, I've never played the Mafia series. I think my brother did a long time ago. But I never did.
Come in. Bravery is not common in this world, and so loyalty, honor, obedience, they set the man apart from the rest. You took care of Messina, but this matter is not yet resolved. Will you help me bring it to a close? Of course, under easy. You again.
That does look good. It kind of has that Red Dead feel to it. Kind of has like
So-
it has like that Red Dead Redemption meets Uncharted.
So here's the story behind this. This, according to Hangar 13, this is a prelude to the franchise. Because it's set in 1900 Italy, Sicily.
Well, I kind of figured when they said the old country, the Mafia refers to Italy as the old country.
Mm-hmm. So this is not, Mafia 4. This, even though yes, this is the fourth game in the franchise, it's not the technical fourth game of the franchise.
It's a prelude. It's like what Borderlands has with the pre-sequel.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up is Mafia 2, which came out a long time ago,
In a galaxy far, far away.
was known as Mafia 2, which I will show the remastered gameplay trailer for everyone.
Easily the most organized.
So Mafia 2 back in the 2010s broke a record for the most use of the F-bomb in a video game.
Not surprised. It was either that or GTA.
Used to see when we was kids.
Yeah, why? The guy we're meeting here is one of them. I think he's got something big for us. If we pull this off, I won't forget it. Trust me.
We need guys like you.
You said it.
So, Mafia 2 was known for a lot of things. The franchise started back in the early 2000s. The first one was based in the 1940s, 1930s, 1940s, around that time frame. This was late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, judging by the design of everything, I'd probably say the 50s or 40s.
Then Mafia 3 was based in 1968, the year Martin Luther King and JFK were both assassinated.
Well, JFK was assassinated in 63. His brother RFK was assassinated in 68 with
Well, yeah.
right after Martin Luther King was assassinated. Because I remember RFK was the one who said, unfortunately, Martin Luther King has passed away because of his injuries.
Yeah, so that's when Mafia 3 was based. And Mafia 3 was also based in 1968 New Orleans.
Yeah, that was one franchise I never got into. I mean, I played The Godfather on the original Xbox, and I do have it for the brick. It's just, I don't think the graphics card can handle it. I might... Eventually, I am going to be upgrading the brick to like a high-end spec Windows XP machine. I mean, I've got the list of parts I want to get for it. So eventually, I think I might do it. What'd you find?
Here's a good video.
You have any idea who you...
Now, granted, I don't know if we'll get copyright strike by Gameology. I hope not, but...
I think we've already been hit like 4 times. But who cares?
But Gameology is a YouTube channel that brings experts in from certain backgrounds and reacts to video games.
Oh, yeah,
So
I've heard
the
of stuff like that.
So the expert that is reacting to Mafia 2 is actually former Captain Regime Michael Francis from the Colombo family back in the 1970s.
Oh. I know, that's a big name.
So he kind of gives a great spiel of how he ended up where he is today, and obviously so on and so forth.
I hate that, man. I can't tell you how many times guys say, do you have any idea who you're talking to? Do you know who I am? A lot of guys did that, mostly low-level guys.
Now come with me.
Not realistic right there. But he's a made guy, nobody ever would slap him, especially in front of guys that weren't made. Not allowed to do that. Never allowed to raise your hand. Hey everyone, welcome back to Expert Reacts. My name is Michael Francis. I was an ex-soldier in Capo Regime in the Colombo organized crime family back in New York. And we're going to do Mafia 2. Let's get into it.
Hey, I'm entitled to a little rest after that last job, don't you think?
Well, they certainly have the right accent. Take me back right home to Brooklyn.
When Alberto hears about this, it's gonna hit the fan.
Yeah, there's always one guy in the back always making noise like that. Pretty realistic.
Who was that? Somebody you don't need to know right now.
You know, it's funny, back in Brooklyn or back in New York, these are the kind of scenes that you saw all the time. You know, back in the day, we had 750 made guys that comprised all 5 families, and there was always something going on. We had social clubs, a lot of places where we would meet, restaurants, places like this. You always saw this kind of activity going on, so pretty realistic.
I got these phone company uniforms so we can pretend to be fixers. Fair enough. Let's go.
Kind of reminds me of the whole Lufthansa robbery when they were setting that up with Henry Hill and Jimmy Burke way back when. 2 different kind of guys. You had the gangsters and the racketeers. You know, the racketeers were a little bit more able to earn money, but the gangsters were the ones that were setting up all these scores. They're always looking for a score, a hijacking, a store to rob, you know, someone to extort, you know, so this is pretty realistic.
So this is our heist.
We got 2 different crews battling it out here on the same score.
But first, let's take a commercial.
God damn it, YouTube. YouTube as always.
just because someone points his finger at him and tells you to do it.
So it would seem to me that these recruits and that they want to get made. So obviously the next step in that is you got to be able to kill somebody. You got to do a hit. Well, let me tell you something. It's not unrealistic that you'd have a botched job like that. But killing a person because he didn't listen to warnings, it could be possible. If you put other guys in jeopardy and you didn't listen to the warning, you could be held accountable for that. Could get serious.
And there's a good chance you'll be accepted into the family. After you pay the initiation fee, of course. $5 grand apiece.
I don't know. This seems like a setup to me because you don't have to pay anybody to get into that life. That's for sure.
Don't disappoint me again.
Boss,
Now come with me.
Not realistic right there. If you
So
guy-
I will admit this: the guy that you just saw on screen, that character is actually voiced by Noah North.
No, I'm not surprised. He's practically everywhere. Anything with THQ, he's practically working for them.
He has worked with a lot of different companies.
Nobody ever would slap him, especially in front of guys that weren't made. Not allowed to do that. Never allowed to raise your hands. So I assumed that was the boss and they were two made guys, and if that was the case, not realistic there.
Guy's been warned, but he thinks he's untouchable.
Basically, they're setting up a hit. If these two guys can perform, then they'd probably be proposed for membership in a life to become a made guy.
You go pick up the machine gun at Harry's shop in Kingston. So,
Certainly not unrealistic that a hit could be set up this way. You know, sometimes you get an order and they tell you exactly how to do it, provide the weapons for you if you need it. Other times they just tell you this is what has to be done, and you go out and do it. You handle it yourself.
250 round belt, 3/4 of a mile effective range, and extremely reliable.
Oh, I know that
I will
gun.
tell you though, in my experience,
That's
guns that we
Hitler's
use all the time,
buzzsaw.
it's either a shotgun or a handgun.
Yep.
38 normally, but that was, you know, a couple of years ago. I guess now they could progress to other weapons.
Where were you? What was it, Normandy, huh?
A lot of my former associates, a lot of mob guys are patriotic. Many of them fought in the war, you know, still patriotic. Doesn't mean that they wouldn't steal here in America, take taxes down or whatever, but a lot of them were patriotic. I was patriotic. Well, listen, you know, there was always, especially back in New York, we had so many guys that we were stepping over each other every once in a while. That's why you had to put things on record. If you were going to do something in a territory you weren't already in, you had to go and put it on record and find out if anybody was there. Because it could be a problem if you're, you know, infringing on somebody else's territory. I don't think you get killed for it. Normally you settle it in some way, you know, you sit down, you settle this and resolve it that way. But if it gets out of hand, anything could happen. Look, that's a tough life. People make mistakes, there's serious consequences. So this could be realistic.
you have any idea who you're talking to?
I hate that, man. I can't tell you how many times guys say, do you have any idea who you're talking to? Or do you know who I am? A lot of guys did that, mostly low-level guys. But this could happen. I mean, this, like I said, you're always stepping over each other. But most of these guys would be more low-level guys. They'd be, you know, kind of the thugs, the guys that are doing the heavy work on the streets. Made guys, not normally would you get involved in this, but stuff like this happened all the time.
Dave, isn't this,
Kids gotta learn sometime.
Why are we seeing how realistic these characters look? I feel like I know half of them just looking at them. I can tell you, we didn't use those guns back in the day. Like I said, things could change, but not back in the day. Normally, you're not going to be shooting up a place, but it's more movie stuff, not really realistic.
Yeah.
I got some Molotov cocktails in the trunk.
Yeah, burn a place down, Molotov cocktail, absolutely. Machine guns like that, probably not. Yeah, I mean, you know, shootings happened all the time. Burning a bar, I mean, certainly realistic. That happened, you know, quite a bit. You know, when things like this escalate, it always ends up in a sit down. You know, the higher ups are going to get involved. They're going to find out what happened. Somebody's going to pay the price. It goes out of hand. But this is the street life.
You didn't notice the video game capture. The guy turned around right before the explosion.
Yeah, because badasses never look at explosions.
This is Vito Scaletta.
Listen, to get into the mob, you know, to be formally inducted into the mob, you got to be a recruit for whatever amount of time it is. When I became a made guy, I was a recruit for about 2.5 years. But prior to that, from the 50s to the mid-70s, they had an expression all over New York that was all 5 families were involved in. And they said the books were closed, meaning they weren't bringing any new guys into the family. The only way they'd bring somebody in is if somebody died and they were allowed to replace them. It was really for security reasons. They wanted to keep things small. But then in the mid-70s, they opened up the books. And that's when all 5 families started to bring in all their recruits. When I got made, there were guys waiting 20 years to get involved in the life and to take the oath. So I just hit it at the right time, you know, in 1975. There were guys waiting from the 50s. They were just recruits doing stuff like this, trying to prove themselves. So it's realistic in that regard. Well, I'll tell you this, it certainly brings back memories. I mean, I took the oath on Halloween night, 1975, and there could be variations of it. You know, the words could be different, but basically what he said was pretty correct. And yes, they do draw some blood. They take a knife and cut your finger a little bit. You do have a saint in your hands, and they burn the saint. And they say if you betray this oath, you're going to die and burn in hell like the saint is burning in your hands. And at the actual event, only the caporalgims or the captains were allowed to come. The soldiers are not allowed in an event like that normally. But it's a very solemn ceremony, dimly lit room like that, late at night. And then after it takes place, it's the boss that says the words, just like here. And after it takes place, we went inside and we had a banquet. We do what, you know, Italians do all the time. You know, you have a feast. But pretty realistic scene. Like I said, a few variations here and there. Every family does it a little bit different, but this is realistic.
Whatever you do, gentlemen, stay away from the door.
Okay, a lot of controversy about this all the time because I tell people during my era in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, we were not allowed to get involved with drugs. That night, we were told if we get involved with drugs, we die. There was no drug dealing. Now, not to say that some people weren't doing it on the sly or on the sneak, but we were not the major drug dealers. We were not cartels. And if you got caught, I knew a guy that blew his brains out in a phone booth because he was caught dealing with drugs and he didn't want to get walked into a room and get whacked on his arm. So a lot of people disagree with that. They say, oh, you know, there was drug dealing at that time. Like I said, yes, on the sneak, on the sly. But all 5 families was hands-off drugs. We weren't allowed to deal with it. So that statement he made was very realistic for my era.
Another commercial.
Yep.
Good old YouTube. They want you to pay to not watch the ads.
Yep.
You couldn't buy dope from anybody and sell it on the streets, and if you did it, you were doing it on the sly. You didn't buy it. Now look, in New York, Little Italy is right across the street, you know, from Chinatown. And there was a lot of drug dealing going on in Chinatown. But if any guys were getting involved with them, they were doing it on the sneak. Weren't allowed to do it. Now, sometimes, you know, somebody will look the other way. Everything in that life is an envelope most of the time. So if you're handing somebody some money and they don't ask any questions, then you were doing it. But if you got caught and you were in the wrong circumstance, you can get killed for it. So we weren't drug dealers back then. You know, I think I heard the boss say in that meeting that you're going to get paid for this. You don't get paid for becoming a made guy.
Okay, we're good.
Now, is he a drug dealer already? How would he know that it's good? You know, unless he was already dealing drugs and this is just continuing that scam, whatever he's doing, but how do you know that it's good? So basically, they were just told no drug dealing. Now they're dealing in drugs. So the minute they get involved in the family, they're breaking the rules, taking a big chance. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, if somebody gets taken out, you're going to avenge. There's no doubt. You don't kill somebody or you don't hurt somebody in the family without suffering the consequences. That's not allowed. Not sure who's beating them up yet, but I guess we'll find out. You know, there was a time when a bunch of young guys started kidnapping made guys. It was back in the 60s. They were actually kidnapping, holding them for ransom. It took 20 years to avenge and find every one of those kidnappers. But they eventually got them. The families never let it go. Constantly on the hunt for them. Finally got them and killed every one of them. You don't take out a made guy. You don't beat up a made guy.
I had no choice. Your friend was a government informer.
Even if it's true that Henry was an informant, you don't go and kill him. You'd have to go and tell our guys, and we would take care of it. And no question, he'd be dead.
Fine, your choice.
A lot of people think that, mob guys will sit around in their social clubs and plan on, the next heist, the next job. Not so. Normally it was somebody from the inside that would come to you and give you the information that you needed in order to do it. And they'd help plan it and they'd help carry it out. Normally there's a lot of planning that goes into these things. You got to be careful because, you get caught, you go to prison. A lot of planning goes behind these things, especially a jewelry store robbery. You don't just walk in there and stick people up. I mean, that's what guys on the street do.
So, anyways, Michael Francis, who is the one that's reacting to this, what ended up happening to him is, yes, he was captain of the Colombo family in New York back in the 70s and 80s. Mid to late 80s, he got arrested for racketeering. The racketeering case he pled guilty on because his former partner was the one who gave the information to the local authorities.
Oh, so he got ratted on.
Essentially. So, what he was doing with his former partner was frauding the government of gas tax. So he stole millions upon millions of dollars of gas tax. That's what he was convicted for.
I didn't think that was a thing.
He obviously got... After that happened, he got out of the life. He met his wife, had children, found his, faith in Christianity, and left that life behind and became a motivational speaker about that life, that type of, things that he experienced, and kind of encourage people, if you get into that life, this is what could happen.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've actually had a neighbor a long time ago. Her husband was a part of they don't like being called the mafia. This is what I was told. They don't like being called the mafia. They were called the La Familia. At least I don't know what family they were a part of. But I knew her husband. He was a good guy. I think he got out too. But I could be wrong because last time I checked, the La Familia was still protecting him and his wife. Even when he passed away, they still took care of his wife. And she never had to work again.
But after he was convicted and everything and did the plea deal, he was transferred to a prison in California and has been living in California since because he's not allowed to be in certain parts of New York.
Yeah, he's probably in witness protection. I mean, the movie not The Godfather, Goodfellas, the one with Ray Liotta, that was also based on a true story about another guy who got into the La Familia. He did a lot of criminal activity. He got arrested and he got out of the La Familia. I need to watch that.
There is a movie. I don't think it was Goodfellas. It might have been, but there was actually someone that actually played a character that was based off of Michael Francis in a movie, and it was a mob movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I just can't remember what the name was.
Ooh.
I think it was Goodfellas. I'm not 100% on that one.
Right. Ooh, hang on. Okay, so real quick, I just downloaded the Game of the Year edition for Fable 2, and I've got the image file for it. So I've got a DVD player right here, and I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to burn it to DVD and throw it on the Xbox 360 just to see if it works. So I might do that off stream, and I'll give you guys a progress report on.
Yeah, I think you're.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. It just decided to go AFU. Now it's back.
Yeah, now it's back.
I don't know why it does
I
that.
figured you wouldn't notice it in time.
Oh, I noticed it, all right,
So-
because I heard, because of my headset, whenever it loses a Bluetooth connection or locks onto something else, it gives off a tone. And it's just like, really?
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, I'm kind of tempted to take this iOS file, burn it, and then try it on the Xbox 360, because that does take DVDs. I might do it off stream, but at the same time, I'm also re-downloading Borderlands 3 for the PC, because I want to finish playing that. I never beat it. I never beat the game.
You
And
want to know what I downloaded last week because it was free on Epic?
Ha.
Dead Island 2.
Oh, God. I haven't played that game in so long.
Yeah, the second day I gave it away for free because it was Game of the Year on Epic.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, now you can't get it for free
Yeah.
anymore.
I kind of figured.
I wish I would have said something sooner because I could have had you download it and we could play multiplayer of it.
Hey, look, it's not a big deal. We can always find more games to play.
That's true.
And since you got, I was gonna say you could play Sea of Thieves, but you don't have an Xbox account. I mean, technically, you could still download the game for the PC.
I would have to pay for it in order to play it on PC.
Hey, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. But I'm actually getting a little bit hungry, guys. I didn't have lunch. All I had was that protein shake. So I'm going to end the stream here, guys, because I am getting hungry. I am going to try to post last week's episode this week. I just had to add an entrance and an exit. So I might do that off stream here, too. I'm also going to do the same thing with this episode. I'm going to download it, edit it, and I'm just going to leave it raw. I'm just going to add an entrance and an exit. I'm not going to censor it. I might put a warning label saying that there is some very naughty words. But other than that, I'm going to go work on Fable. I'm going to work on last week's episode. This coming week is the week of my birthday. So there's going to be no podcast next Monday. It's going to be Sea of Thieves. Because on Tuesday, I'm going to be gone all day. Because that's my birthday. So I'm going to be gone all day. I'm going to be with Squeeze Beeves and a couple of our friends. I'm going to be spending time with my family, too, for my birthday. I'm going to coordinate with her, because supposedly she's off Tuesday, to see if we can go in early with our friends. Hang on!
Hell, he definitely locked out in a bat out of hell. Well, I hope everyone has, enjoyed watching this episode of this podcast, and if you're not having a great day, great night, wherever you are, you can always try it again tomorrow. So with that being said, there's just, I don't know. And now Tucker's back.
Alright, sorry about that. I just
You
heard
definitely ran out of your room like a bat out of hell.
Well, my mom was screaming. apparently something happened with one of our dogs, and she was screaming. So I thought something, either one of the dogs was attacking or fighting, or I don't know what the hell it was. So I booked it out there just in case. So it turns out my mom was making a blanket, and with her sewing machine, and one of the dogs got caught up in the wiring, and he freaked out, and that's when my mom was yelling, because he was freaking out badly. That's why I booked it out there.
Ah.
So yeah, he's not hurt. My mom's not hurt. It's just he freaked out for no reason, and he got scared and he just took off. So that's why I got out there as fast as I could. But it's kind of hard when you got to go through a door, down a hallway, almost breaking through a baby gate, just to try to get out there. So gotta go over through a couple hurdles. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna end it now just to make sure everything's okay and try to get early dinner because I got the munchies. But like I said, next week, guys, it's gonna be the week of my birthday. Monday, we're gonna be playing Sea of Thieves, and hopefully, hope we can get Cookie Blade to join us. She's a amazing cosplayer from Germany, and she's a future VTuber that's gonna be making her debut soon. So hopefully, it'll be on our end here, because she wants to play Sea of Thieves. She's on vacation next week from college, so hopefully she'll be joining us next week. I'm going to let her know about the change, to see if it's okay, because my birthday is on the 2nd, which is a Tuesday. So there's going to be no podcast that week. I'm going to make the announcement too on our Discord page as well. If you're not a part of the Imperial Strike Force, all the information is in the link.space/Tucker1701, which is in the comment section below. If not there, both on the YouTube and Twitch, I have them both there. So again, I want to say tomorrow for some Sea of Thieves action.